Good afternoon, members. It's 1:38 p.m. and I call this Ways and Means meeting to order. We have majority of the members here, um, so we're going to quorum to conduct today's business. First and foremost, my name is Ralph Yumo, Chairman of Ways and Means. To my left, I have Representative Blas Attal, Vice Chair. We have the Vice Speaker of the House, Joel Camacho. We have Representative Marissa Flores, Representative Roman Beneventi, Representative Manny Castro, Representative Joe Guerrero, Representative Jampo Sablan, Joe Flores. Joe Flores, because I see the brother right there. I'm looking over there. I apologize. Representative Joe Flores. To his left is Representative Jampo Sablan. Uh, And to his left, we have Representative TJ Manglonia. And to his left, we have Representative Angelo Camacho. We have our staff here, Cam and Mr. Nick. We have Joe Tyrone, our counsel, TG, our fiscal analyst, and our IT, Dell. Thank you, members, and everyone present. With that, can I have a motion to adopt today's agenda? There has been a motion, has been seconded. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. The ayes have it. Is there anyone in the gallery that would like to make comments with regards to um, the budget request proposed by Department of Lands, DPL? Being there's none, move over. Sarge, can we invite the secretary and the team to uh, have a seat? And I guess OMB will be here shortly. I haven't gotten a notice from them, but I expect them to be here. Thank you, Secretary Santos, for making yourself present and your staff for today's budget hearing. As you know, we didn't call you last fiscal year, so this is going to be a first in a while, and that's because some of us are new, and we want all the new members to uh, understand the role of DPL and its duties. So, with that, I'll now hand over the mic to you for your opening statement. Thank you.
So, good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and esteemed members of the House Standing Committee on Ways and Means. DPO thank all of you for giving us this opportunity to appear before you to address any questions or concerns that you may have with regards to our proposed fiscal year 2025 budget. The Department of Public Lands, under the Office of the Governor and Lieutenant Governor, submits its proposed budget for fiscal year 2025 in the amount of 5.56 million. This proposal is crafted to ensure the continued operations and success of the department's mission to manage and sustain our public lands effectively. However, before we dive into the details or the breakdown of our budget, I would like to first introduce our DPL's team, the upper level management and division directors. So to my left, we have Mr. Dave Sablon, Special Advisor to DPL, who provides advice on public land matters such as Manyogoha and several TOAs. We have Director Pat Rosa of the Planning Division, who is in charge of homestead development, land use plan surveying, and etc. We have seated back here Director Bonnie Royal for our real estate. She handles the processing of leases, TOAs, AGPs, And the division's primary role is to generate revenues through leases, TOAs, and AGP. To my immediate right, we have Mr. Rich Villagomez. He's our financial advisor for DPO, who provides advice on DPO's financial matters. In some cases, he also handles the processing of leases and TOAs. Further down, we have Director Evelyn Sablon for finance and accounting. Director Sablon oversees and manages the fiscal responsibilities of DPL, ensuring accuracy of the department's financial records. We have Director Peggy Salas of Human Resources, who manages our department's personnel, administrative support, recruitment, and processing of all personnel actions, managing assets and inventory control of our department. We have Director Greg of Compliance Division, who enforces all our leases, TOAs, AGP, the Manyagoha Island, and issues notices of violations, defaults, and terminations. We have also Director Irene back, who's seated back here. She's the director for the Homestead division, who handles all Homestead programs, manages application, processes eligibility, issues notices on non-compliance, revocation, and etc. We have also Bono Titano. He's not new to the house. Uh, he is our grant writer who applies or seeks grants for DPO's infrastructures and other projects not allowed or authorized to be funded under DPO's revenues or funds. DPO is unique in that it also handles two district offices, one for Rhoda and the other one for Tinian. Although they're not with us, we have Director Rose, who handles the Rhoda district office, and Director Bernie Salikonas, who handles Tinian's district office. The function of both of these offices is to manage the homestead programs, land claims, administrative matters, initiate leases, TOAs, AGPs, enforces more like they perform duties of the Saipan division directors, but limited in number of cases. We have also acting director for land claims, Tony Tumakani, who's seated right back there. Land claims, they review, they conduct reviews, researches, and investigations of land issues. They process claims and affirms the validity of some of those land claims that they review. And so that basically summarizes the introduction of our team this afternoon, Mr. Chairman. And if I may continue.
Sure.
Okay. Again, Mr. Chairman and this team, members of this Committee on Ways and Means, the Department of Public Lands under the Office of the Governor, Lieutenant Governor, submits its proposed budget for fiscal year 2025, amounting to 5.56 million. This proposal is crafted to ensure the continued functionality and success of the department in its mission to manage and sustain our public lands effectively. The proposed budget allocates 58% of the total to personal costs, amounting to 3.2 million. This figure represents a light decrease from the previous year, with a reduction of 3 full-time FTEs, bringing the total to only 88 FTEs for this proposed fiscal year 2025 budget. This reduction reflects our commitment to efficiency and responsible stewardship of public resources. The remaining 2.29 million constitute 41% of our budget, and that is earmarked for essential operational expenditures. This includes a crucial 1% allocation for the public auditor's fee, ensuring accountability and transparency in our financial practices. The budgetary allocations are designed to address the core needs of DPL. Personnel and operational costs are paramount to maintaining our daily functions and supporting long overdue homestead projects. For instance, the planning division requires 2 UTVs or ATVs to navigate the challenging terrains of Road and Tinian, with 119,587 dedicated to this vital homestead initiatives. Investments in equipment and maintenance are also critical components of the budget. We propose a $225,000 allocated for the acquisition of a new boat to replace the aging one, thereby reducing repair costs and enhancing the safety of the Manyagoha Rangers. Additionally, 25,000 is allocated for advertising new and renewed leases, which is essential for generating revenue. Our fuel expenses are projected at 111,000, supporting daily operations with the specific allocations for the compliance division and Manyagaha Islands generator operations. The budget for professional services stands at $683,000, with its breakdown encompassing 110,000 for legal services and 40,000 for Northern Island projects. We also allocate 75,000 for a mandated single audit over 2 years and 275,000 for updating the land use plan, a requirement every 5 years as per $145,000, with Manyagaha's costs being offset by landing fee collections. Office rentals are another necessary expense. Our stipend office rental is set at $194,000 per annum, while our RODA office rental is $18,000 and Tinian is $12,000, both annually. We have also allocated 500,000 for the maintenance and repair of vehicles, new vehicle for compliance division, and office equipment. Of this, $150,000 is designed for the upkeep of Manyagaha's generator and reverse osmosis system, with 50% of the total cost reimbursed to Marianas Global as per its master concessionaire lease agreement. Our revenue forecast for fiscal year 2025 is as follows. Saipan is projected to generate 5.321 million, reflecting an increase of 684,000 from fiscal year 2024. Rhoda is expected to generate 5,610,000, up from 41,100,000 in fiscal year 2024. Tinian, however, is projected to generate 188,272,000, a slight decrease from fiscal year 2024, and that is as a result of the termination of the outer city lease. DPO sets aside $10,000 for its public advisory board that has not gone into effect since its fifth advisory board has yet to be confirmed by its local legislative body, followed by the oath taking. As soon as that is completed, the plaque will be called to organized. And in addition to our revenue forecast, we have also secured several federal grants for critical projects, and this include 226,52,000 for the Manyagaha Pier Safety Railing Project, 326,000 for the revegetation of the abandoned quarries with native vegetation, 97,725,000 for the agricultural homestead programs, land survey initiative for the Northern Islands, and I requested 711,477 for the Manyagaha Island Erosion Impact Study and Mitigation Control. Furthermore, 1 million was secured through U.S. Delegate Guerrero Kililo Sablan for the Asgono Homestead subdivision on Saipan. 3.8 million was allocated for West San Jose Tinian power line and water line projects projects for the municipality of Tinian. Well, and these are all from CIP. Well, 874,330 has been allocated for water line projects leading to the entrance of Dugi Homestead subdivision on Rhoda from the municipality CIP. These fundings are a testament to the collaborative efforts and dedication of our CNMI leaders. And with that, DPO extends its heartfelt gratitude to our Honorable Governor Arnold Palacios, Honorable Lieutenant Governor David Apatang, Honorable U.S. Delegate Kilili Sablan, the Office of Insular Affairs, former Representative Tina Sablan, Rhoda Legislative Delegation, Saipan and Northern Islands Legislative Delegation, Mayor of Tinian and Tinian Legislative Delegation, Office of Grants, and Director Elizabeth Balahari of CIP for their tireless efforts in securing these funds through grants. These federal grants, managed by the Office of Grant Management and Capital Improvement Projects, are strictly designated for their respective projects and cannot be diverted for DPL personnel or operations for that matter. And so with that, Mr. Chairman and the esteemed members of this House Ways and Means, I implore all of you to approve this strategically prepared budget. It is imperative for the continued success and operational integrity of our department. Your support will ensure that we can effectively manage and protect our public lands for the benefit of our NMDs and the CNMI. Thank you.
Thank
Uh,
you, Secretary Santos, for that. I think I have no more questions. She answered everything. Hold on. Um, yes, if it's possible, Secretary, before you leave, can we get I guess a copy so that we can distribute it to the members, unless someone wants it right away.
yes, yes. I have I have this copy I prepared, Mr. Chairman, and if your
Okay.
sergeant at arms can
Okay.
retrieve
So
this.
while we're having that copy, I'll go over some of the let's start with the projections, and then we'll continue on. With regards to the proposed revenue forecast for DPL, the I guess on the Saipan side, um, what are the new? Because there's obviously an increase of almost 300,000 for temporary permits, as well as the BGR. So can you at least go over that section with us with regards to the forecast on the
So,
Saipan side?
so with that, Mr. Chairman, if I may, I'll you over to the Director of Finance and Accounting.
Okay,
She has all those records. Thank you.
thank you.
Good afternoon, Chairman and the members of the House. Um, there is a 608,684.48 increase for the Saipan revenue. One of the reason is that Manyagaha Island concession, we have 800,000, and we have some new leases. Triple Star 18,000, Shining Star 3,800, Pacific Line Corporation 23,477, and some of the increases are based on the appraised market value. When the leases are due for appraisal, uh, there are some if the leases are increased, so of course the rental will be increased also.
So
And if the
so these are
appraisal,
current leases that are ongoing right now that are, I guess, an increase, or these are new lease.
there are some the
Okay.
existing leases, the
I
current
guess.
leases, and
Okay.
also we have I think only one, two, three, four leases that added to the old ones.
So four new ones.
Four new ones that
Okay.
includes Manyagaha concession.
Okay. And then the old ones are just updating. There's an annual increase, or
Every 5 years they will get appraised, and if the appraisal is higher, so the rental will increase, and if the appraisal is lower than the current, we maintain the same rental
okay.
per
And this
annum.
excludes like the hotel, what's that? Can Pacific, that excludes that,
uh,
right?
Pan Pacific is
Not
not
included.
included, sir.
And
Yeah.
also, I guess all the um unoccupied, like for example the Hyatt, for example, what's the update that are we renew, are they paying the lease, or
For Hyatt, for 2024, they prepaid for the whole year.
for the whole year
Yes.
also it's included?
Yes.
Okay, okay, noted. um with regards to my second question is regards to the Homestead program in Asgono. Where are we with? Because I know in the past legislatures, we've always, I guess, DPL would always allocate, and we just need an update as to what's going on with those lots, with regards to infrastructure, the sewer. Where are we with that?
So are you to Director Pat?
Okay.
Good afternoon. Thank you for that question. I think that's one of the most vital questions that I've been looking forward to. As you may all know, Department of Public Lands cannot use their funds for infrastructure. Um, Everything necessarily for us to do from the ground up have all been completed for the past few years for Ascono. The problem is at least the water infrastructure. If it can go in, then we can permit the recipients. But for now, we can't move without those water infrastructure because the permitting agency, the regulatory agencies will not approve any um, uh, permit by the individual landowners.
So has there been any discussions with like CUC or
We have
DPW?
we have met with them at least 3 4 times already, trying
Okay.
to get them to take over this project. Uh, we had a pretty good communication when PV was there, very open to assist us. But then after he left, it's like they just don't have time for us to sit down and talk.
Does
It's been very
CUC have
frustrating.
is the CUC included in their plans with regards to the
We have
homestead?
done all the plans. That's on us. We've paid for all the A&Es. They
Okay.
have it with them for the past, I would say, 5 years. But they haven't moved, and they're counting on us to find ways to secure the funding.
Okay. So with reg-
And we've asked them to please, if they can take over, because one of the things that's also hampering us from applying for infrastructure grant is that we are not qualified to apply for infrastructure grant because it is non-inclusive,
okay.
meaning not all U.S. citizens are eligible.
Right.
So we're
Um
trying to push it. We need assistance to try and get the CUC
right.
to
So
take over this project.
I guess my question would be, is CUC, so CUC don't want to pay for it? That's what you're saying. So does DPO request, at least from this body, to go into depth so that we can address the infrastructure part? Like going to a
Yes,
rural grant
actually, I've
or loan.
been lobbying for the past 12 years. Um, the Senate, the House, to try and get some sort of funding,
Right.
appropriation for this
So do we have an
infrastructure.
estimate of what it would cost, for
Yes,
example?
for in total, we need for Asgono, we're looking at about $8 million.
Okay.
Then
Uh,
we have Tinian for Marple Heights. We're looking at about $6 million. And then we have Rhoda, two sites for Doogie and Finafa, and we're looking at another $8 million.
okay.
Um, I've availed myself to trying and talk to the delegations from each municipality to see if there's any way that they could find ways to secure some funding for the infrastructure, but
Right.
to no avail.
I know I guess there's infrastructure budgets proposed by the US, and I'm trying to see if there's something that we can, I guess, request or look at so that we can address the I guess homestead part. That's going as trying to fund the infrastructure part. I know we would like to see, because the benefit is going to be CUC, right? So they should also have some stake in this, because at the end of the day, we're going to be paying them, and that's something that maybe we can sit down and discuss. I just need an update with regards to the homestead program, because we've gone through this so many years, but we don't see any progress. And
Probably gone up by now.
yeah, so obviously infrastructure is the main issue, and that's something that we're going to have to look forward, at least with this body, and see what we can do to help, because I'm not sure how many homestead applicants are out there right now, or behind with issuing those
Yeah.
lots.
Well, right now we have three homestead lots for the Ascono, 446 lots for Marple Heights, Tinian, and we have 245 lots, no, 145 lots for Finafa Homestead in Rhoda.
Okay.
Mm. Oh, and the Andugi Homestead
Right.
is
So we're
also
looking at
it
least a
also needs it.
thousand.
There are 148 lots.
Right. So we're looking at 1,000 lots that
Yes.
Um. Okay.
So, Mr. Chairman, if I may, at one point in time, we were given an estimated the cost for all these homestead subdivision, pending homestead or issuance of permits in, these homestead subdivisions in all three senatorial districts, and it would cost close to about $88 million.
Yeah.
And that includes power and water lines for Rhoda and Tinian. We do not have sewer. Sewer is included for the third senatorial district.
Right. Okay. Thank you for that. Um. I guess I'll open it up for the first round with regards to the I have no issues with the proposal for the uh, personnel. We I think we all agree that um, we would we're looking at that. It's just the operation that we need to get some clarification with regards to DPO's operation and all others. So that's something I'll have the members chime in on this. So I'll open the floor with regards to the budget request. I open up the floor. Rep Flores.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you and welcome, Secretary and team. I guess my first question is towards your organizational chart, you have how many staff do you have total?
As of now, it's about Director Pig is 81 or inclu-
Right now
go ahead.
on board we have 74.
74.
That's
How many?
including Rhoda and Tinian.
Okay. And how many of those are civil service?
69.
And I notice, so maybe one more question. Are your civil service employees, are any of them directors? How many?
Yes. I would say all of the 9 are directors.
All
from
9?
Yeah.
Do you know what periods of the year they were given civil service?
Normally when you're on board, because it's a civil service position.
Right.
So when we hire
Mhm.
under 6 months probation. Then they
Mhm.
get converted to permanent status after 6 months of performing.
Okay. Because I noticed some that are civil service that were just recent, and you have some that are
Yeah.
longer than
yeah.
others.
uh,
Is there a reason why there's a discrepancy?
No, it's just the timing of
Okay.
when somebody resigns and then we hire.
Okay. All right. Thank you. My next question is the secretary mentioned something about land appraisals. And you were just in here, I believe Department of Public Land was in here not too long ago regarding the Hyatt land lease prior to this new incident that they were going to close shop on June 30. And one of the things that stuck out was that you don't have, and you still don't have, an appraiser. And I might have missed it, but in your budget, secretary, is an appraiser part of one of the vacancies that you will be filling?
That is correct. And there have been numerous attempts that DPO opens up this vacancy. Unfortunately, yes, we have never, yes, there was never, any eligibility forward over to the department to assess and conduct an interview. But nevertheless, we continue to put it here because, again, we strongly believe that it is imperative for the department.
I strongly believe it's imperative based on your function. So my next question then to you is, take me to this process. So you have your HR, you have your fiscal departments and divisions within your organization. How do you, I guess, vet or go through this JVA process just for your appraiser?
I'll you to our HR
Okay.
director. Thank you.
So the normal process for announcing a position is just preparing a request for personnel action, and with that, it is routed through the different agencies with also the governor's approval. It's then announced right at OPM. So based on the minimum qualifications, OPM will review all of the applicants, and they'll only give us the top 5 applicants who made minimum qualifications. But for the last 2 or 3 times we announced, we didn't even get one.
And I'm sure the laws don't prohibit you to try and use other avenues to procure and fill this vacancy, does it?
I don't believe so. I think we can, try again.
Okay. And so I guess this is for you, Madam Secretary. If you were going to try another venue besides OPM, take me through that process. How would you design your team to find that appraiser to be filled? Because it's crucial. You need this.
So it has to go through a what's that, a non-civil service contract,
Uh-huh.
and it would uh,
Oh, sorry. If you're meaning other ways instead of through OPM,
Mm-hmm.
we can announce it on the newspaper, um, and try to solicit from there. And I believe we've tried to announce it once on the paper because we didn't get any applicants on the normal process,
Mm-hmm.
which is going through OPM and going through their website. So if you've
Okay.
seen OPM's website on vacancies,
Mm-hmm.
that would be there. And we've tried announcing it on the paper. Um, I know other big companies or department maybe
Mhm.
go solicit in the US. I don't know through a job search, but we've never done that.
Okay.
But-
Well, may I?
but
Oh, yes,
Chair,
go ahead.
even if it goes through what's this, an accepted service contract, it still has to go through the OPM.
I understand.
Yes.
So I guess maybe you guys can decide possibly at some point, figure out some kind of mutual understanding and try vetting outside of the CNMI. I don't think, we're restricted to just within our municipalities or within our jurisdiction. May I suggest maybe trying to, you have all this legal services, professional services at 683,000. 100 of 110,000 of that is for legal services, and 40,000 of that for Northern Island projects. So I think maybe this, we can try to figure out, maybe try vetting for a headhunter. And there's plenty out there that you can use. And I think in terms of and what you have here, based on what you said, the Secretary's executive division staff's main goal is to provide the Secretary with expert and professional recommendation, opinion, and guidance to assist with the efficient and effective services in the management, use, disposition, and development of public lands for the economic and social betterment of the Commonwealth. Correct? Okay.
That
All
is part of its mission, correct?
Okay, so may I recommend, Madam Secretary, that maybe you might want to try vetting outside and with the professional services budget you have, take a look at that maybe one more time and try soliciting for outside headhunters to assist you in recruiting and filling this vacant position, because as I understand, you're using the appraiser of land lease or potential land lease investors, correct? I mean, at least for the last appraisal that you had submitted to this body the last time you were here, you don't have an appraiser, so you used the appraiser of the person that wanted to invest in the land, correct?
it's no, okay, so whenever we have a lease, it's that's out for for lease, it's the potential lessee that is required to submit the appraisal of that public lands property.
Okay, but you don't have an appraiser. So you
We do
take,
not have yes, we do not have an internal appraiser.
okay.
That is correct. We always have to obtain the services of two appraisal companies here in the Commonwealth.
Mhm. Okay. So the landowner, the one that wants to lease the land, will appraise the value, and then you will procure and get an outside source to compare what they gave you. Is that right?
Let me yield over to Advisor Rich for more clarification on that.
That's thank you, Mr. Chairman and Congresswoman Flores. Yeah, so the process is as described before is the lessee, all lessees, they're required to get an appraisal on the property. The criteria for them getting an appraiser is they'd have to be certified and licensed. The appraiser would have to be certified and licensed, and the appraiser would also have to abide by DPL's requirements, which is the understanding that the appraisal is going to be um, performed on behalf of DPL, although the lessee pays for it. I hope that clears something up.
That clears it, but again, right, it doesn't do any in terms of efficiency and effectiveness, does not help, and it's definitely not in the betterment and the best interest of the Commonwealth, since you don't have your internal appraiser. That's what I'm getting at. Your rules are very simple, and that they follow your rules, and I'm glad that they do. But in terms of meeting your goals and your expectations, you need an appraiser. Yes or no?
That is correct.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
And so going back to 110 for legal services, that basically the amount is basically towards the legal services that we are being provided from the Office of the Attorney General.
Thank you. How much are you paying for rental at your Saipan office?
Saipan,
194. And is your lease year to year?
I think it's every 2 years.
And when is the expiration of your lease? In terms of service and efficiency and looking at your organizational chart, will you be open to maybe some hybrid working where do all your staff need to be in the second floor to provide effective and efficient service to you?
Yes.
Why?
Well, not all of the staff, because we do have rangers that report over to Manyakoha, and we do have maintenance supervisor that reports to Marianas Resort.
All right. So let me go down, let's say, one of your divisions. Let's go into maybe director of planning and division. And I'm just trying to understand whether or not you need all these people, because traditionally everyone has to come in and time in 8 to 5, right? In a very typical workplace till now. But
Right.
COVID allowed us to be a little bit more flexible on how we can interact, provide service, and meet our goals and expectations in terms of where we're at. So, Miss Rosa, do you need to be at your office every day, 5 days a week, from 7:30 to 4:30?
Definitely.
Okay. How many people come and see you on a daily basis? On
I don't just rely on people walking in.
Mhm.
I deal with the staff that are there. They're
Okay.
doing surveys.
Uh-huh.
I'm responding to all the inquiries. We're doing designation documents. We're doing reconveyance for areas that are being abandoned. Um, we have land use reviewers, making sure that properties are really vacant and hasn't been obligated somewhere else, and we're trying to give it to somebody else.
Okay.
There's so many things that planning division does.
Okay. All right.
And
And
in addition to that, Chair, I just want this esteemed members to be mindful that we don't only cater to Saipan, we also extend these services over to Rhoda and Tinian. So in this case, in the event that the Rhoda directors, the Tinian directors require the services in order for them to complete whatever it is that they're processing, whatever matters that they're handling, they always have to consult the Saipan division directors.
all right. And again, I'm just trying to get clarity. As you know, we're in an economic crisis, so trying to be creative to make sure that we provide efficient and effective services to our Commonwealth is quite important to everybody, including yourself. So I respect that. I'm just trying to understand in terms of budget and in terms of planning how best we can ensure efficiency, because there seems to be a duplication of services in a lot of areas. And in order to save jobs and ensure efficiency in the executive branch as they provide services to those in our community and foreign investment and even small businesses, we want to make sure that it's efficient. So I'm just trying to understand, once again, if this is efficient. So,
So, Madam Chair, just for your information, it is for that reason that DPO decided not to occupy or not to open up three vacancies. It is because in our department we highly encourage multitask, so that in the event that one is not there, two is not there, that somebody who's there would be able to take over and complete the duties and responsibilities or the goals for that day.
that's good to know. Thank you. You know, you also have a civil engineer that's vacant. Uh, do you believe that that position is essential for your department?
Yes, DPO thinks so. Yes,
Why?
absolutely. So, I'll refer to Director Peggy.
No, I'm just asking you, Madam
It's a s-
Secretary, why
it,
it's important.
well, again, because we deal with, like planning, and planning requires some engineering duties, some responsibilities, and it is for that reason that we continuously put this on our organizational chart in hopes that when we open this, that it would lure, potential applicants and would be sent over to DPO if he or she is eligible, and we conduct the interview, and hopefully the person would be on board. But to further this, I yield over to Director Pat, because again, this engineering position is very related,
And
associated to
and I
planning.
have a follow-up question, Madam Secretary. And how long has this position been vacant?
As far as I know, since I was there last year, Director Peggy, last year.
Okay, thank you. Now,
Director Pat, you have anything?
I don't
further?
think she needs to further clarify. I think I got everything I need. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I noticed when I was doing some research earlier while I prepped for you, and I didn't see it in your budget, and I didn't see it anywhere in special funds or anywhere listed in what I had as far as information. So in 2006, the legislature passed the Public Lands Act, Public Law 15-2, which abolished the Marianas Public Land Authority and established the Department of Public Lands to manage and administer the Commonwealth's public land under the provision of Article 9, Article 11 of the Constitution, 1 CMC 2108, 2801 to 2809. The Public Lands Act also provided for an operations fund in which all revenues generated through the administration of public lands will be deposited and from which DPL would satisfy its operational expenses. There is hereby established a fund to be known as the DPL Operations Funds, which shall be maintained by the Department of Finance. The bank accounts for the DPL operation shall be separate and apart from the general fund bank accounts and the other funds of the Commonwealth government. Number one, all revenues received from the department from whatever source shall be deposited in the DPL operations Operations Fund bank accounts in banks located in the Commonwealth that are insured by the FDIC. All debts, liabilities, obligations, and operational expenses of the department shall be paid from the DPL Operations Fund bank account. Now, I didn't find this. Madam Secretary, can you please tell me what bank are these funds being held at?
So, when I arrived in the department, from what I understand, it was formerly at Bank of Guam. However, because of Public Law 15-2, which requires that funds of DPO be forwarded or deposited over to the Department of Finance, that was accomplished under the DPO Operational Fund. That was accomplished in February 1st, 2024.
How much is in there?
I do not have the exact number or amount as of today, but
Will
that
your
can be
fiscal manager
provided.
have that exact
Huh?
amount today?
What?
Will your fiscal manager have that?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Congresswoman. As of now, the funds is open under CNMI Treasury Office under the DPL Operations Fund. It was opened last October by the Finance, and we transfer funds effective February, wherein we transferred around 11 million that time. And as of now, the last printout that the Treasury Office provided DPL, the balance was 7 million.
What happened? Go ahead.
We remitted 4,500,000 to MPLT.
When did you do that? In February?
January and sometime in January was the 500 and the 4 million sometime in May, I think. Let me just check.
I think it was in May 2024.
May 2024.
Yes, 2024.
That's okay, Miss Fiscal Manager. I'll wait. If you can give me that information, I'll be more than.
Excuse me. It was sent on April 26, 2024.
Okay, thank you.
So let the record reflect the corrected date was in April,
Yes.
not May. Yes.
Mhm. Okay, thank you. So I have another question, and this will be my last for the first round until I gather my thoughts, and someone might trigger another question for me to ask. File number 19-2656, DPL, and Madam Secretary, you weren't here at the time this was executed, but I'm assuming the individual who was in charge of this would be your director of real estate. Okay, so this was executed in October 1st, 2020. Exhibit A tells me on the public benefit obligation, $5,000 annual donation to the Division of Parks and Recreation under the Department of Land and Resources for playground equipment and maintenance costs. So has DPL received any of these donations under this particular executed lease?
Excuse me,
So-
Madam Secretary, or Congresswoman, is that for the vertical aviation lease?
Yes. Yes.
No, they haven't. We have wrote to them. We
Mhm.
issued a notice of violation because they haven't um, they haven't remitted those public benefit provision.
Okay, so they haven't remitted that. And is there a interest that they have to pay you if they don't pay on time? Or a penalty, if that's what you want to call it?
No, there's no interest in the
Okay,
on that
is there a
provision.
penalty?
No, there's no penalty.
There's no penalty.
But if they continue to be default, then we can, and the due process has been given, then we can terminate the lease.
And who's in charge of ensuring that they're always on time to collect and transmit this money?
That's the compliance division.
Okay. And have you done so?
Yes, like I said earlier, we have issued a notice of violation to them.
All right. So there's other things in this exhibit that is for public benefit. Have they met all of their obligations? Because resources doesn't just mean money, but it means meeting this exhibit here. And just reading through that, there has been no public benefit that I see that they have been contributing to the Commonwealth, therefore causing a little bit more than just neglect to the lease, but also we could be using the services based on their public benefit obligation. Is there a reason why they haven't met that?
Can you name specifically who?
Number one, 15% discount on the following services at a corporate rate. Okay. Bullet 1, search and rescue assistance. Bullet 2, police and fire department air support. Bullet 3, government assistance in reaching the Northern Islands. Bullet 4, federal or local government agency transportation, inspection, and surveillance of remote areas. Bullet 5, air ambulance services in the future with the addition of larger helicopters with onboard nurses or paramedics, enabling patients in critical conditions to be transported quickly to emergency care. Currently, patients must be able to sit upright for takeoff and landing in one of the commercial air operators, which means the people who need it the most cannot get the treatment they need. Bullet 6, transportation or referral patients for treatment. Bullet 7, timely transportation of people and time-sensitive supplies to the Northern Islands. Bullet 8, timely transportation of fresh meat and produce from agricultural homesteads such as Pagan. And Bullet 8, local discount program on selected flights.
The ones that you just mentioned, it appears that that's the lease for the vertical aviation, and no, they have not met those conditions. Like I said, we issued a notice of violation of them, and they have requested that they wanted to amend their lease because initially their purpose clause of their lease is for a helicopter pad aviation. However, they want to amend it to a warehouse activity, and that is under review. So right now, we're not considering that until they meet those conditions.
How long does the review process take?
That's the next step that we're going to proceed, and we may probably cancel the lease.
Yeah, that's 5 years that we've been waiting. So how much do you owe? How soon would Parks and Rec get paid? Because from my understanding, they're short about $230,000 to meet its payroll.
Well, the process is going to come.
Okay. Madam Secretary, I highly recommend that they look into this lease, because if there's a public benefit here and nothing's happening.
And I totally agree, Madam Chair. And so the compliance division has been very aggressive in what's this, enforcing the public benefit portions of those affected leases. And nevertheless, I know that he has also been issuing out notice of violations in regards to the non-remittance of those public benefits. But yes, we will continue to enforce that, and if, as long as they have not met that, we would definitely review, and if it calls for the termination after providing the due process, DPO would take that necessary action.
Okay, Ms. Bonnie. Thank you, Madam Secretary. Ms. Bonnie, you are the Director of Real Estate, correct? Were you a part of this lease negotiation?
Actually, the process for vertical aviation was before my time,
Okay,
but it was executed
during your time.
when I
All
came
right.
in
So you were very familiar with the lease agreement.
towards the end of the
Okay.
process.
And
Yes.
you thought at that time that the public contribution or public interest sheet exhibit A, that they were more than likely to meet their public benefit obligations at that time.
The public benefit proposal was submitted prior to my time, so it was already within the lease agreement, and it was during the notice of proposed lease when I came in. So this was negotiated before my time.
All right. So in terms of, again, meeting your mission, Madam Secretary, which is very clear, the development of public lands for the economic and social betterment of the Commonwealth. Please take a look at this. Parks and Rec have been doing a lot of work for DPL, including maintaining Camp Pacific.
Not necessarily.
So, Madam Chair, in regards to that, I note that we have executed a memorandum of agreement between DPL and DLNR for services. And so we have been remitting, payments as soon as we receive their invoices. And so, yes, we have been extending that.
Okay, well then, if that's the case, then that's good. But based on this one execution of a lease, you haven't been meeting it, so not everything is being met. Um, please take a look at this lease, Miss Bonnie, and your team, because there's a lot that we could use in terms of public benefit. And I don't know what you charge, or even if your rules will even allow you to charge them a penalty. But at least during this time, if they're not even satisfying the lease agreement, then go back and reconsider and really negotiate. And I do believe that maybe this next time around, highly consider bringing a CDA or CETA to the table, because they've got qualified people there in terms of collaborative efforts in the best interest of the Commonwealth under the executive branch. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield.
Thank you, Rep. Flores. Just to tie this in, from that lease that they haven't paid. So is this included in the revenue forecasted? The I guess the penalties or those that are haven't fulfilled.
Yes,
It's
yes,
all in
yes.
part of it. Okay, thank you for that. Um, anyone else in the members? Rep Castro.
I'm sorry. Correction. No, it's not included.
So it's not included in the revenue forecasted for this fiscal year. Okay.
No, only the annual lease rental.
The annual lease. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
And so, Mr. Chairman, for purposes of information and clarification, all public benefits does not come into DPO's coffer, nor does DPO impose any penalties on any of these public benefits. What DPO can do is enforce the lease agreement with respect to these public benefits, and if they fail to comply with that, then DPO would execute the necessary action. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Secretary. Rep.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Secretary, and your team for being here today. Um, thank you for your continued service to the CNMI. Now more than ever, your role in getting this economy, up and running and revived is very crucial. So I noticed that there's some expenses here, for example, or budget requests for travel, and it's about 60,000, I believe.
That is cumulative of all the division directors, or the divisions, I should say. Yes.
Yeah. So I just wanted to add, hopefully some of these funds could be geared towards participating in some of these investment seminars that CETA attends, commerce, because at the end of the day, some of these investors are going to have to deal with you and your department.
So, Mr. Chairman, for your information, any conferences, meetings, seminars that DPL is solicited to attend to, DPL does send its representative.
And thank you for that.
Mhm.
Um, recently, in one of as you're aware, like Google was in recently installing undersea cable. Um, but just wanted to stress that we also look into not just investors in the hotel industry, but also other possible opportunities such as server, data warehouses, digital economy investors, something where we can diversify our economy, not just to rely on one market. There's a lot of trends nowadays with one of the strongest line of businesses is the information field. Um, and with this infrastructure coming in, perhaps we can also look into that as well. Um, Another thing I wanted to also stress is does DPL also control the marine sports operators and the licenses for that, or is that a different agency?
Yes, DPO has some beach concession permits.
And is this is for like parasailing and all those activities?
No, normally the power sellings are permitted by CRM.
CRM. Okay. And then Maniagaha would be just that exclusive license that was
That's correct.
okay.
Well, just wanted to add more to the Manyagaha. The Manyagaha is only for the exclusive concession area, which is where they sell the food and drinks area. Anything outside of that would be through CRM operating any marine sports.
Has the current concessionaire stated any concerns with like possibly loss of revenue due to other vendors and
Yeah, that's one of their concerns right now. Um, they're claiming they do not have the full exclusive rights there, and however, the agreement that was signed on May, the master concession, it provides the full exclusive rights in there. Um, right now, we are working in amending uh, part of the uh, the current regulation, which has not been. I mean, it was not there. It's a notice that we're trying to put up to the or give issue to those marine sports that are picking up past customers from the pier of Maniagaha. So we have decided that amending the regulations right now, the Maniagaha regulations, by amending it, we will give the concessionaire their full exclusive rights. And the reason why we're amending the regulation because in 2013, 2012 or 13, there was a case that was presented. Uh, the complainants were the marine sports at that time, and it was DPL and Tacito were the defendants, and I believe they lost the court case at that time. So we're trying to make sure this time, through our legal counsel, that we amend it right and eventually enforce that. The rights of the concessionaire because I believe the regulation the master concession gives the full authority to the concessionaire within the exclusive. However, the regulation Maniagaha regulation states that the only authorized uh, entity or company to do commercial activity in Maniagaha is the master concession. So that is the part that we're trying to amend to make sure that they have that. And once we that thing is in place, we will issue a notice to the all the marine sports operators, because right now it's a disaster out there. Uh, the master concessionaire is always complaining to us, but we can't do anything right now unless we amend the regulation to get it right.
And thank you, sir. And I just wanted to bring that up because recently I was on Manyaga and I noticed, maintenance wise, that it's getting it's not as clean as it used to be. The trees aren't trimmed as they used to be. There's a lot of coconuts, nijuk that are ready to fall. And I'm sure you guys remember the last time in the 90s or something when it injured a tourist. So all those factors play in, and it's also not fair to the business that has that exclusivity, but then you have other vendors like dropping. It's one thing if it's locals coming in to enjoy Manyaga, but it's another thing if you have multiple enterprises um, kind of um, bringing in more customers and not without the rights that the other vendor has. Also in line with the activities on Manyaga, I just wanted to recommend maybe upping the professional development funds for your personnel, maybe the rangers, having them cross-trained and participating in police academy. And I know the law maybe need to be revised, but just for response, if you have intoxicated individuals on there and you're gonna wait for DPS to respond, it takes some time, but you already have FTEs on there. In most states, rangers are not just a security guard; they're law enforcement. So maybe a MOU, and if CPA was able to do something like that, maybe we can synergize our resources and also improve outcomes for our community. And if it's a lifeguard, first responder training for our rangers as well as law enforcement, so they can issue citations, make an arrest if needed. Um, some high level training for the FTEs out there. Um, it might be hard to see at this point, but like if you see other jurisdictions like Palau, when you say rangers, that's a big deal. Um, and there's that possibility. In addition, I noticed you did say that you're going to be upgrading your boats. Please upgrade the boats because they really look like they need to be upgraded. Um, and I hope that DPL will procure the appropriate boat for the appropriate activities, because it's not just Manyaga you have to go to. All right. Thank you for your time.
Totally agree, Congressman.
Mr. Chairman, thank you for that. And our rangers have been attending CPR courses. In fact, just recently that was conducted by DFEMS. And with regards to maybe arming or rangers, that has been, a discussion in the past. And I understand that there's an existing public law which provides, for maybe your sergeant at arms, you're to be armed. No, and I think that is something that you may want to consider in order for our rangers out there to be able to be armed and be deputized where they can, arrest anyone that may be intoxicated or a threat to our tourists and our general public alike. So please take that initiative, and thank you.
Hey, Europe, are you? Did you?
Yes,
Almost.
I would like to add with the firearms, because our rangers collect the landing fee on a daily basis, and nowadays you won't know, people can get violent because they know that you're carrying cash, big amount of cash, and their safeties are utmost priority.
In addition, I also recommend that DPL look to other methods of uh, accepting currency, not just cash, because that can also mitigate that concern that you just brought up. If there was a Clover payment system or instead of just having a toll booth, just a permit. So you buy the permit, a DPL permit for Maniagaha at Joten or any hotel, and then all they have to see is, do you have that permit? Which might save costs, and but just some food for thought. And I just want to also stress that because I see those guys out there, and right now the Rangers, are they also monitoring Mariana's Resort, or it's contracted, or
So our staff monitors Marianas Resort on a daily basis. Yes.
some they go
So,
ahead.
so for Marianas Resort, we contract security services and also maintenance, and it's been costing DPO maybe an estimate of between $22,000 to $25,000 per month, right? Right, Director Evelyn?
Okay. All right. That's all I had. I just go ahead.
Some safety concerns that we're implementing out there with the cash flowing ranges. We have this, what do you call it, charts account. We're implementing a charts account for tour agents where they can come in and sign this agreement. So every 2 weeks they come in and pay us, with the total numbers that they brought in for the past 2 weeks. So that's one way to alleviate
There's
But
there's also a lot of transactions happening, possibly without people knowing. Like with today's technology, especially back then with when the Chinese tourism was high, there's WeChat, and they could just tap their phones, and you just have a transaction right there. So, um, just technology has evolved, and if we're not up to speed with that, those types of technology, we're losing a lot of revenue. It's also, you would see the some boats dropping off tourists at the back. It's not necessarily the case, but in previous years you would see that. And again, like the way in which currency is transferred, there's a lot of different ways. So we also maybe have to update our payment system. Thank you.
Thank you, Rep Castro. Any Rep Manglonia?
Good afternoon, Secretary and team, and thank you all again for your service. Um, I just had a couple questions. You mentioned the Public Land Advisory Board. Forgive me, I'm new. What's the function of the board?
So, the Public Lands Advisory Board is just to advise the department on three categories. I believe one of which is on the, um, on Homestead. The other one, Director Eve, is it's on three categories. Well, at any rate, they have not convened, and the reason for not being convened is because the last member has not yet been confirmed by its municipal council, and after that, the member would still need to take his or her oath taking before the department would call for them to organize. And until that happens, we continue to operate without an advisory board.
And how long have they been inactive?
I'm not too sure, but since my advent to the department, we have never, it has never organized. So can you, yeah, yeah.
Okay, thank you. My last question. Do you guys have like a current ballpark amount of the unpaid leases currently? Any?
I'll yield to the Finance and Accounting Director.
Okay, thank you. If you could provide a current ballpark amount of the unpaid leases as well as any community benefits that have not been fulfilled. Uh, Maybe if you just start with the unpaid leases, if you have a ballpark or amount. Just a ballpark of what's currently owed. Um, 1 million total. Okay. And then do you guys have a list of, I guess, whatever community benefits? Like, I know Rep Marissa had a list of. So would anybody within the department be able to provide?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I thought I had it with me, but I don't have it with me. But we do have a list that we
Okay,
can
if I could
provide.
just request you can provide that
Sure.
information to this body. Uh, Thank you. I yield for now.
Thank you, Rep.
Mr. Chairman, in response to your question as to the role of the advisory board, and so they, advise DPO on the management of public lands, including the land use plan and the homestead programs. So those were basically their functions. Thank you.
Rep Ato.
Thank you, Chairman. Madam Secretary and team, thank you for joining us this afternoon. Just to go back, just to connect this, the community benefits to our budget. No, so it's if the community benefits are not being provided, it actually hampers our resources as a central government. Like for example, the land lease there in on Middle Road that was brought up is offering all these great community benefits, but yet none of it's been utilized, and we've had multiple uh, issues in regards to stranded vessels and all that kind of stuff that these community benefits could have assisted in. If DPL is not responsible to follow the community benefits, then who is? Because DPL is putting it in the contractual agreement to provide the community benefits.
Yes, it is DPO's responsibility, and we we will look into that matter so that we can notify them. We have met with them, and um, in order for them to make those public benefits, they wanted to amend the lease because the current lease right now it's not working for them, and they wanted to amend the lease so they can make it a more profitable as a warehouse space.
I do understand that, but when the property was up for lease, right, then there's RFPs, requests for proposals. There's other potential investors that might have committed to the same lease agreement. Now we're amending the lease to benefit the current lease. Or what about the other uh, people that came up to bid? Because now you're opening DPO into a position for lawsuits because you're amending the lease that everybody bid on that lease.
Um, Sorry, Vice Chairman, but the compliance division role is once the lease is executed, then we enforce that. But before that and through that RFP process, it goes to another division, which is the real estate division.
I do understand, but at the end of the day, it's still going to be DPO, right?
Yes,
So
it
if these
is.
guys come in and sue DPL, it's going to be DPO secretary and DPL body, not
Mhm.
real estate or compliance.
Yeah, and that's what we're when we met, that's what we're talking about, and hopefully they can meet those obligations. But if not, then we're gonna
And
terminate the
you
lease.
should,
Yes.
because these are our investments, our opportunities for investment for them. They abide by the investments and the contractual agreements that they signed off with DPL to provide the services. Failure to provide those services, there should be penalties imposed by DPL for them not complying with that. Because if it's not DPL, then I really don't know who else in the other than paying their taxes and their business license. Everything else is got a contractual agreement between DPL and the entity, correct?
Yes, and a notice is forthcoming.
Okay, thank you for that. The Maniagawa landing fee. How much is a collection of Maniagawa landing fee?
The collection for Manyagaha landing fee for 2023 was 1,230,000, and this 2024 year to date is 1,030,000.
Where's that money going to?
That's revenue for DPL.
Revenue for DPL? Has any of
Yes.
the Maniagawa landing fee monies been utilized for the concession stand, like concession holder at Maniagawa?
Yes.
For what purpose?
The Manyagahan landing fee is designed to offset the expenditures that is being incurred in Manyagaha. And that's we are obliged to remit 50% of the rental of the concessionaire, which is the rental per annum is 800. So we have to forecast 400,000 to reimburse to them to offset against the collections, Manyagaha landing fee.
You offset 400,000, or you pay back the concessionaire 400,000.
Yes.
How much is the lease agreement for Maniagawa?
800,000 per year.
So technically, it's only $400,000 annually.
Yes, sir.
And this is part of the terms and conditions of the
In
contractual
the
agreement, correct?
Yes, sir.
So
Yes.
does DPL use the Maniagawa landing fee, or does the company use the Maniagawa landing fee monies to purchase like snorkels, goggles, fins, canoes for the
No.
utilization? No?
They purchase with their own money, and then they will submit to us the invoices. And those invoices would be scrutinized by DPL before we can even reimburse to them.
But why would DPL be reimbursing them for associate amenities
No,
that the
give me,
concession
It's only
stand?
for the repairs
me-
and maintenance.
Okay, repairs and
give me
maintenance.
clarify. As an exclusive, as the exclusive concessionaire, they are responsible to provide the maintenance, the lifeguard and security of Manyagaha. In turn, DPO will pay 50% of those contracts, basically for the maintenance, the security and lifeguard of Manyagaha. So we pay 50% of that, and that's what comes in on a reimbursement basis.
Okay, does DPL pay for maintenance and security for the regular hotels that have public land leases?
No, we don't.
So
No.
why are we offering the same service to Maniagawa?
So I believe this was through the RFP process
Yeah.
when they issued the RFP back in 2021.
21. Yes.
That's what I'm saying,
It was
no?
already embedded in.
It's embedded,
Yeah.
but now you're amending the contractual agreement, right? Because what the RFP, they bid on that. Every other bidders bidded on the same RFP, right?
Yes.
But
I
now
remember.
you're trying to change the contractual agreement with the vendor now at Maniagaha to accommodate their concerns about they don't have true exclusivity of Maniagaha.
That's the regulation that Mr. Sablang was referring to.
Yeah, and I think that's what, because the exclusivity happens on the land,
Mhm.
right?
Yes.
The docking part, that's different
Yes.
because not only do they bring tourists to Maniagaha, there's other vendors, right, that would bring tourists to Maniagaha and would pay their landing fee, correct?
That's correct. Small boat operators.
Small boat
Yes.
operators. So these small boat operators that bring tourists to Maniagaha, those Maniagaha landing fees that they pay
Mhm.
is a portion of what's paid to the vendor of the whatever 400,000, correct?
Yeah, that's if they meet the 7 criteria that Ms. Royal mentioned,
Okay.
which are maintenance, janitorial, and fuel, nighttime security and lifeguards. Yeah.
Can DPO separate that from the actual concessionaire that brings their big boat there with their tourists and back?
Can you clarify that, please?
So let's say $1.2 million, correct? Collections. If $800,000 of collections came from the small boat operators, and the remainder comes from the actual big boat that goes there that belongs to the concessionaire, can those funds be separated? So based on the contractual agreement, should be based on that boat, that's the owners of the concessionaire should be getting the money from that as a reimbursement, not the landing fee that the small boat operators are bringing into Managaha, because that's unfair to DPL. You guys are actually losing money.
So all of the collections that come in, it's being deposited as revenue, right? And then we budget Maniagaha for 400,000. Unfortunately, we under budgeted that.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, right?
Yeah.
The concessionaire is who you're paying for
Mhm.
50% whatever for lifeguard security,
Mhm.
So why shouldn't the money that they're bringing into Maniagaha be the one to pay that, and everything else is considered revenue for DPL? Because if you're
That
embedding everything in,
that revenue for the Manyagaha is recorded as miscellaneous revenue, which is it's
I
incorporated with our budget.
I do understand that, but the reimbursement that DPL is paying the concessionaire includes the outside revenue from the actual concessionaire itself. Small boat operators bringing in tourists to Maniagaha. I think those DPO is losing the money there because now you're slashing it on the bigger chunk of money. You should be slashing the smaller collections.
Can I clarify something? I just wanted to ask, when you say big boats, are you referring to
Do
the
they
boat?
like Tasi Tours had their boat, right?
Okay, okay. Right now, the Manyagaha concessionaire doesn't have its own boat.
Okay.
It doesn't have its own tourists. They don't have their package tourists that are coming in. These are mixed tourists that are coming in.
I do understand that, Mr. Sablan, but when you bid for the exclusivity of Maniagaha, you know that it's separated from the main land that brings the tourists guests would stay on, right? And when you bring them to Maniagaha, that should be the direct correlation to the exclusivity, not the external tourists that are brought in by like the small businesses, because they're still gonna pay the Maniagaha landing fee no matter what. But it's the money that you're taking away from DPL through the Maniagaha landing fee that's reimbursing the cost of them running their business. That's an exclusive license. That's like me getting an exclusive license, but you're paying 50%
Yeah.
of
No.
my operations.
Yeah, just for clarification, the 400 that you're talking about, that's for reimbursement of the overall maintenance of the island, not just in the exclusive concession
True.
area.
I do agree with that, but you have multiple land lease agreements, and you don't have like crowns coming to DPO and say we want reimbursement for the maintenance of our property. And it's not exclusive. They have Hyatt next to it, all the other hotels there. I'm just saying that you want to make so much with the contractual agreements that you get into, and make sure that there's a lot of teeth, because DPL, and then I thank you guys with DPO down in the middle of Garpa and Western Garpa. And if it wasn't for DPL, we wouldn't be in this situation to at least get information in regards to the IPI issue. But DPO triggered that because of the contractual agreement that they had on that lease had a lot of teeth that gave some advantages to DPO to move forward with even their finances, their collections, all that information we got because of DPO's ability to to create a good contractual agreement with IPA at the time. We should follow that kind of contractual agreement so that DPO makes the money. And I understand that it's the MPOT is probably watching right now because they can see how much money you guys can be making, and they always come after you guys trying to take the money from you guys or for you guys to remit the money, right? but we just wanted to be fair so that you guys have true numbers. I mean, 1.2 million, that's a pretty big number considering the number of tourists that are actually coming to the cinema. Prior to that, we were, or what, like $3 million, and this is a huge 1.2 million is huge for how our economy is right now in our current situation. I have further questions, Chair, but I think we would ask the Secretary directly. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair Rep Beneventi. Do you want to respond?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Secretary.
Rep Beneventi, hold on. I'm not sure if they're gonna respond or no. Okay. You don't have to respond, but I'm just saying. I thought he was preparing. I thought you were gonna respond. Okay. Rep Beneventi.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Secretary, good afternoon. Dan todi membro gini ni manggagi. Be jauh na be finutsamoru loke di didi. Ja mostra comprendi dan man comprendi público. Ni mani kung sa estina problema o